this UFC coming up. Alexa Grasso takes on Vivian Araujo. Not the greatest card, but still money to be made. I feel like these last few cards, just little appetizers to get ready for probably the biggest pay-per-view of the year coming up next. Next pay-per-view, Charles Oliveira takes on Islam Makhachev. Just a stacked card. I really hope no one pulls out. It's looking good so far, but I've seen stuff happen last minute, so hopefully nothing crazy happens. If you guys need a place to bet, if you guys see my last video, I told you guys BetUS, they were giving $500 refunds for people who lost their bet up to $500. Unheard of, never heard of that from any other gambling site. Only if you use promo code Iceman, available in US, Canada, and Europe. So, Alexa Grasso takes on Vivian Araujo. I don't know if this should be the main event. I don't know. Yeah, even the last main event, Dern versus Yao Shannon, I mean, not really worthy of a main event. But it is what it is. I guess the UFC wants to promote these girls, so it is what it is. So I'm going to start off at the bottom here. My boy, Tatsuro Taira. Remember, if you guys have been watching me for a while, I took Tatsuro as my ice pick before. This kid was just super young coming into the UFC. So the UFC was going to try to really build their name off this guy. Only 22 years old. I think he's got 10 wins in a row in the pros, 11-0 in the pros and 9-0 as an amateur. So he's got 20 straight wins, current win streak, 20 straight wins, which is pretty impressive in MMA. Now he's taking on Vergara. Vergara, not bad. He does have some good wins. He's got I think 7 or 8 wins in his last 8 fights. He had that one loss to Ade Osborne, which was a unanimous decision win. And then after that, he came back and, got a split decision win over Klidson Rodriguez. But I really think the UFC is going to try to push this Tatsuro kid. So I don't think they're going to give him too hard matchups right now. So I'm picking Tatsuro Taira on this one. He's going to be my bet. I got him parlayed with someone else, which you will see later, but I got Tatsuro Taira on this card for sure. Up next, we got Joanderson. Brito takes on Lucas Alexander. Now, Joanderson Brito, he looked really good in his last fight. He knocked out Andre Fili, who, Andre Touchy-Fili, great fighter. He knocked him out in 40 seconds. But before that, he lost to Bill Algeo, which was, not too impressive. But, Bill Algeo is not bad. And he's taking on Lucas Alexander, 7 wins, 2 losses. Not the most experienced dude, but he has been on quite the win streak. He's racked up 5 wins in a row. And, I think Joanderson Brito should get it done. He's just fought better guys. It's his first fight in the UFC. And you're fighting Joanderson Brito, so I think Joanderson should get that one done. So I'm taking Joanderson on that one. Up next, Nick Maximov takes on Jacob Malkoun. Nick Maximov coming off, he's got 2 wins in his last 3 fights. Not bad. He did win that split decision win over Punahele Soriano. Some people thought Punahele won, but it was close. And then his last fight, he just got dominated and Anaconda choked in a minute by Andre Petrowski. So it was not too impressive, but he's taking on Jacob Malkoun. Jacob Malkoun lost a unanimous decision to Brendan Allen. But he does have some impressive wins, including that unanimous decision win over Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So I'm slightly leaning towards the underdog on this one. I'm going to go with Jacob Malkoun on that one. Next, Raphael Assuncao takes on Victor Henry. Victor Henry, man, this guy looked really impressive his last fight. He fought Hani Barcelos. Hani Barcelos I've been super high on. He's the real deal. And Victor Henry dominated Hani Barcelos. So that was super impressive. And he's taken on Raphael Assuncao. And Raphael Assuncao, he was a great fighter in his time, but he's, 40 years old. He's coming off 4 straight losses, including, viciously getting knocked out by Cody Garbrandt and, knocked out by Ricky Simone in his last fight. Now he's taking on another hungry guy, Victor Henry. I think this is probably the last time you're going to see Raphael Assuncao in the UFC. I think he's gone after this. If you lose 5 straight, not the biggest name, I think you're done. So I'm taking Victor Henry on that one. Up next, Mana Martinez. Coming off a unanimous decision loss to Ronnie Lawrence. He's only had 2 fights in the UFC. He's 1-1. His first fight, it was over Guido Canetti, who was like, I think 8 wins, 5 losses at the time. He's got like 10 wins, 6 losses currently. Not an impressive, and it was a split decision win. Now he's taking on Brandon Killerby. Yeah, I'm leaning slightly towards. I'm going to go with the over actually on this one. I'm going to go over 1.5. That's my pick on this one, over 1.5. Up next, Misha Cirkunov takes on Alonzo Menifield. Misha Cirkunov, the Canadian, great submission game. However, after that impressive win over Jimmy Crute in 2019, where he got him in the Peruvian necktie, he just hasn't looked good, man. Coming off 3 straight losses. Even his last fight, he got armbarred by Wellington Turman. Has not been looking good. Takes on Alonzo, the Atomic Menifield, who's like built like a running back. The real deal. So this is going to be interesting. Misha Cirkunov wants to take this fight to the ground. Sorry, Menifield wants it to keep it standing. I think he should be able to keep it standing for the most part, and I think he should be able to get it done on the feet against Misha Cirkunov. And Misha Cirkunov, man, if you lose one more, that's 4 straight, and that could be on the end of it in the UFC, as it. Now we got the Beverly Hills Ninja, Jordan Wright. He's taking on Dusko Todorovic. Beverly Hills Ninja has not been looking good. His last 2 fights, viciously knocked out by Bruno Silva in like under 90 seconds, and Marc-Andre Barral, mounted, guillotine choked him pretty viciously. Dusko Todorovic, he got knocked out pretty bad against Chidi Njokwani. Before that, he beat Maki Pitolo and lost to the RoboCop guy who beat Chidi, Gregory Rodriguez. This is going to be interesting, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the over on this one as well, over 1.5. That's my pick on that one. Next, Askar Askarov takes on Brandon Royval. Askar Askarov, the real deal, from Dagestan. 30 years old, in his prime. His last fight, he did not look that good. He lost a unanimous decision, lost to Kai Kara-France. But Kai Kara-France, the real deal. Brandon Royval, actually, they have a similar opponent in Kai Kara-France. Brandon Royval, Raw Dog, submitted Kai Kara-France. And then Askar lost to him. But Askar Askarov is the favorite going in, and that's mainly because of the styles. Brandon Royval, he's got great submission game, a lot of submissions. I just don't think he's going to be able to get Askar Askarov down and submit him. Askar Askarov, he's got a really good ground game, really strong grappler, great wrestling. So I think he should be able to keep it on the feet, and if he does keep it on the feet, which I think he will do, I think it's just a bad matchup for Brandon Royval, so I'm going to go with Askar Askarov. If you guys see here, I'm going to post my bet. I currently made 1 bet so far on this card, and I parlayed Askar Askarov with Tatsuro Taira. That's my pick. Not a nice pick. I got a nice pick coming up on the next UFC, the pay-per-view, the big one. This one's just something to wet the nips a bit, So I'm going Askar Askarov. He should be able to get it done. Now we got the co-main event, Cub Swanson, Jonathan Martinez. Cub Swanson still doing the damn thing. 38 years old. His last fight, he won against Darren Elkins. The damage, wheel kicked him. But Darren Elkins, I don't know, he's been taking a lot of damage, so to speak, and, a bit over the hill. Then his last fight, Giga Chikadze body kicked Cub Swanson. It's pretty bad. He's taking on Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez been looking really good lately, coming off 3 straight wins. I'm going with the over on this one as well. I'm going to take this fight over 1.5. I think that's a really good bet. I don't think Cub Swanson's going to be able to get Jonathan Martinez out of there under 1.5. And Jonathan Martinez, his last, 3 wins are all unanimous decision wins. So if he beats Cub, I believe he's going to be by unanimous decision or split decision. He's a decision fighter. So I just have a feeling this fight's going over. And then main event, Alexa Grasso takes on Viviane Araujo. Alexa Grasso coming off 3 straight wins. Her last loss coming to Carla Esparza in 2019. Ever since then, she's been looking really good. She's taking on Viviane Araujo, a Brazilian girl. Her last fight, she beat Andrea Lee, but then lost to Caitlin Chikagian in 2021. So 1-1 in her last 2 fights. I think the UFC is going to try to push Alexa Grasso more. She's more marketable. A male-dominated sport. Mostly the viewers are male. And, what is intriguing to the males is, you see a beautiful girl, hot girl, and she's a great fighter. She's more marketable. If she's like super ugly, and just it's harder to promote like a Chris Cyborg. Like if Chris Cyborg was hot, dude, she would be the face of the UFC or whatever organization she's in. But it's hard to find both. So I think Alexa Grasso sort of she's, really good looking girl. She's got the skills to back it up. Is she the best women's flyweight fighter in the world? No, absolutely not. But she's someone they can really, get behind and hopefully build into a star, especially in the Mexican market. So I think I'm going to go with Alexa Grasso on that one.